Good morning. Welcome, RE/MAX Tri-County, RE/MAX First Realty, RE/MAX First Realty 2. Today, our think tank will be covering ARV. For those of you that don't know, that's after repair value. This is a very big topic as working with investors and also being able to spot deals and identify properties with equity, you need to learn ARV. So what I plan to do is just really walk you guys through how I come to find ARV on properties, how I comp properties to find it, and really just explain some of the details to look for, etc. I am going to use Garden State MLS, which is my primary and the one I'm more comfortable with, but the process is the same no matter which MLS you're using. So let me just quickly unpack ARV before we jump on to the digital part of the think tank. But ARV after repair value, if someone wants an ARV on a property, they're basically looking for what will it be worth once I complete certain renovations. And the renovations are typically kitchens, baths, flooring, windows, central air upgrades, etc. But you're taking a property today that is worth X, and if I add on to it or update it or renovate it, where is it worth now? It's not X, it's Y or Z. So figuring out the Y or Z from looking at X, and it becomes a little tricky. You have to kind of learn what's the market calling for. An example, if in East Brunswick, all of the Cape Cods have central air, well, that's something you would want for your ARV. So you'd have to factor in, hey, I'm going to add central air. If the market doesn't call for it, you don't need that particular item. Or if you have the scope of work, which is what the investor, the builder, etc., developer is looking to do to the home, that's how you could figure out on the back end when the property's done renovations or updated what the property will look like, and then you're going to comp it. So figuring out your ARV, guys, is something that's very common with 203K renovation loans. That is what the appraisers have to do. They go to the house today, it's not updated, but based on your scope of work and the write-up of what you're going to be doing to the home, what will it be worth at the end? What's the Y or Z value once all this stuff in the middle, construction is done? So the more you can master your ARV, the better of a asset and value you become to investors. It also allows you to spot deals faster and easier, and it's a great skill set to know. And if you ever have a buyer doing a 203K or just looking to add value to something, a dated house, an estate sale, something that hasn't been updated forever, you'll be able to say, hey, if this had new kitchens, new baths, it would be worth Y or Z versus in this particular condition, it's worth X. So again, it's comping the properties, but just comping them completely redone, completely renovated, or with an addition or adding space, etc. So that's the concept behind ARV, after repair value, versus pricing it the way it is now. So I'm gonna shift over to the MLS, and I'll use an easy town to run through an example of ARV. So let's take a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Roselle, which is Union County. So you're going to comp it the way you would a normal home. Let's say we have an estate sale that hasn't been updated since 1960, decent shape. It's not a shell, meaning it's habitable, but just very dated. So we're going to go into the MLS, Union County, Roselle, same methods I would use to comp a regular house. We're looking at souls, right? We only want souls. We want single families. And the close date, we're going back 6 months. And we're looking at 3-bedroom homes, right? So I would search to get an idea of the market. So there's 70 3-bedroom homes that sold in the last 6 months. Let's narrow it down. We want at least 1.5 baths, getting closer to 2. That brings it down to 57. And this home has a basement, so let's hit yes, 53, and it has a garage. And now we have our 40 comps in the last 6 months. First thing you're going to do with any town, of course, is look at the areas. So I can't speak specifically about Cranford or Hamilton or East Brunswick because most of those towns, it's overall pretty comparable. There are parts of Cranford that may be worth a little bit more than other parts, but I believe, and I could be wrong about East Brunswick and Hamilton, but I believe overall, yes, actually, let me take that back. There are parts of East Brunswick, I believe it's Farrington Lake, et cetera, in different sections where the values are worth more. But there are a lot of towns where overall it's the same price point, but where it comes to a town that the north side is worth more, the west side is worth more, or vice versa, you always want to map it. So you're keeping the comps where they should be. Example, this town, this railroad track kind of divides where this part of town is a little bit more desirable and worth more. So I want to look at the comps on this same part of town. And for this example, let's say we're in this neighborhood. So I'm going to pull up this comp, number 23. Sorry, I am using a Windows PC, which I'm not used to. It's taking me a little longer. Number 37 is a comp, 3 beds, 2 baths. Oops. Number 34 and number 12 are on this part of town. Right, so let's start with those and see how they compare, as they are the closest if we were in this neighborhood. Now, if we were in this neighborhood, I would use these comps here in this section, just as if we were in this neighborhood, I would use these comps here, right? Because the neighborhoods could change and the values could change. So now that I have identified the comps in my neighborhood, I narrow it down to these 4 comps. And let's see how this 3-bedroom estate sale that is dated compares to the market, as well as, hey, if I put in new kitchens, new baths, new plumbing, new electric, central air, new roof, siding, et cetera, what would be the maximum value? One quick tip with ARV, it's typically the highest side of the comps. And what I mean by that is, on the high side in the town, if the average price is 500, it's typically closer. In the hierarchy of home sales, this isn't 100%, but it's very high up that usually new constructions are the most expensive and highest comps you'll find. Second will be renovated homes. New construction and renovated homes are usually at the highest price points. Then you're going to find your average home that's well maintained, in good shape. And then, of course, you get to your distressed properties. Short sales, foreclosures, things in bad shape, dated homes. Now, does that mean you might have an average home that's up there with a renovated home? Sometimes, yes. Better location, bigger size, no inventory on the market, et cetera. That may happen, but typically the high side of the comps are your ARVs because they're the renovated, updated homes. So looking at this, 910 Dietz Street, 400 is the price, and I want to see if it's renovated. So the kitchen is updated, could be less than 5 years. You could see that it looks like it's either granite or Formica. It's very hard to tell. We could read the description, but wood floors, radiators here, window AC unit, so we know it doesn't have central air. The bathroom is updated. Basement's not finished. Nice yard. And that sold for 400. So then we go to the next comp. Sold for 415. Let's take a look at that. Wood floors again. Kitchens updated, not brand new, but it is an updated kitchen, it looks like. Bathrooms are updated. If you could look at the doors, these are older doors. They're not typically what a builder or a rehab home would have. Typically it would be 2-panel, 6-panel new white doors. Bathrooms somewhat updated. Ceiling fans. I have to look at the heating system in this house. This sold for 415, and if you scroll down, it has forced hot air, central air, and it is a 3.2, so that's 415, very similar in price to the previous one that sold for 400. Obviously, this is a colonial, which is a little bit more desirable style, which would justify the additional $15,000 in value. Then it jumps to 460, which is a cape. 3 beds, 3 baths, so there's an extra full bath there. And looking at this, same wood floors, newer cabinets, not brand new, but newer cabinets, updated kitchen, granite counters. By the way, guys, this is a quick example of edit your photos. The photos should not be horizontal when you're looking at them. Finished basement here, which the other ones, I believe, did not have. More modern, updated bathroom. All right, so this jumps, but if you look at the outside, at least freshly painted, newer roof, and if you read a little bit of the description, a homeowner has done an excellent job at maintaining and upgrading the home. Roof is 6 years old, 3 beds, 3 full baths, etc. Renovated kitchen, finished basement. So this jumps up to 460, and we'll look at the other comp to kind of help us. And Trinity Place. So Trinity Place, let's see how that compares. So wall AC units, recessed lights, wood floors, new kitchen. You could see newer cabinets, new style backsplash, golden fixtures, which just indicates to me it's a newer kitchen. Wood floors, you have forced hot air. I see the window AC units. Older bath, updated but not brand new. And this has a finished basement, garage, backyard, etc. So that's the last comp. So if we look at this, guys, 400, 415, 460, 450, but none of these are renovated homes. So this is a great example of what do you do if none of them are new construction or renovated? How do you value the ARV if you're just getting average homes? And these are maybe slightly above average. So if you take the average price here, client CMA, the average price of these closed is about 430. On the high side, 450 and 460. Room counts and everything seem to be very close. This one is the Colonial. Oh, nope, Cape, sorry. The Colonial actually sell for less, but 3 full baths, and maybe it's a better location, or days on market are the same. So maybe it's a better location, or at the time that there was no inventory. So what I'm gonna do is close this out so I know what the average homes are selling for. But just running that again, and I go to sold price, now I'm going to look at the entire town because it's not giving me a true indication of what a renovated home would be. So what I did is I clicked the sold price to get to the highest price point, and now I want to compare those average homes to these 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes that are selling at a higher price point. And as I mentioned before, the highest comps are typically renovated homes or new homes. So when you look at this, highest one for 495 is a renovated home. Brand new kitchen, new floors. Look at the light fixtures. It's vacant, which typically is a telltale sign. You could see newer windows throughout. Brand new bathroom. Look at the tile work. Finished basement. And again, brand new bathroom. Read the description, renovated home, sold for $495. So the average we had was about $431, and the 2 highest comps previously were $450 and $460. Now this is an inferior part of town. It's not the best location where we looked in the map, But because the rehabs are selling for $495, that gives me an indication that the after repair, if you renovate a home in that neighborhood, you should be able to get at least the $495 because it's a premium neighborhood. And if these renovated homes are going for $495, not in the premium neighborhood, you should be able to match or exceed that. The next highest comp is $465. And again, to my point before, sometimes you'll have one or two creep in that aren't fully renovated. So if you look at this with the stonework, carpeting, it's not a renovated home, but for whatever reason, maybe it's the fireplace, maybe it's the fact that it's bigger, has an addition, which I could see, look at the size of the master bedroom, skylights. This may be bigger in size, which is why two-car garage, none of them had that, which is why, although it's not renovated, it's selling there. And then this was one of our comps at 460. So if you look at the math, 495, 460, 460, 455, the high side of this town is between that 460 to 495. So if I'm looking at ARV for Roselle for a 3-bed, 2-bath home, etc., I would say you're in that ballpark. Right? Because if you go down to these 425s, 415s, and I'll show you this as an example, they're nice homes in good shape, but they're not as renovated. And this is an updated kitchen. But if you completely renovate it, you have central air, you don't have the radiators, you don't have the window ACs, you don't have this old trim, you should be able to generate well over the 420 price. So ARV is the after repair value. If the home is updated, it typically sells at the highest price point of the town. Unfortunately, in these examples, there aren't many rehabs. The only rehab is the highest price point in Roselle, which is this one, and the others don't seem to be fully gut renovated or fully updated. But you can see the price difference in that the rehab sold for $495, and it's a $30,000 increase against the others. And some of the others do have more in the sense of this has 4 baths, this is 3 baths, this is a 2-car garage, this has 3 bathrooms as well. Yes, this one has 10 rooms versus 8, 8, 9, etc., 9. But the $30,000 difference is more likely due to the fact that it's renovated. So summing it all up for ARV, look for the highest price points, and I'll quickly give one last example. If we look at a neighboring town like Linden, let's look at Linden as a neighboring town. Actually, let's look at Roselle Park. And we sort by the sold price to get the highest price point. So let's look at the 540. Has a pool, which could aid, but this is not fully renovated. It's obviously someone's home that's well maintained, but it's an updated kitchen, bigger lot for Roselle Park, has an additional room, etc. And that sold for $540. The next comp is $497, well maintained as well. Kind of struck out today where I'm not finding many rehabs, but typically your rehabs, and this looks to be one, completely renovated, $490, but it's smaller. If you just look at it, you could see it's a smaller home than the comps, the 2 higher comps. But this smaller size home, if you compared it not renovated, the not renovated ones would be selling for less. This sold as a rehab, and this would be a great example of an ARV at $490. But if we look at 6-room, 3-bedroom capes, which let's try to find another 6-room, 3-bedroom cape. That's a colonial. 410. Here's another 6-room, 3-bedroom cape. This sold for $410, so there's a huge difference in price. And the big difference is it being fully renovated. This has baseboards. You can see an older kitchen here, tile backsplash, etc., but older kitchen. But if you match apples to apples, This sold for 410, 6 rooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, versus this one that sold for 490, 6 rooms, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. The difference of $80,000 is due to the renovation. They're both capes, very similar in size, and the difference is ARV on this one is high because, and actually closed price is high because it's fully renovated. So that's a prime example of what I was looking for. You would price the one that sold at 410 at 410 because it's not updated. And if someone looked at that and said, hey, what if I did the kitchen, bathroom, and made it a completely renovated home, how much would it be worth? The ARV would be similar to this at 490. So that's really how you find ARV. Key things to look for are what's the high side for a 3-bedroom cape? And now you know where you can max it out. And looking for properties on the lower side of the current home, the subject property. So if I'm looking at a 350 cape in this Roselle Park example, then I know that the highest 3-bedroom cape is 490. I know that the ARV for that 350, if updated, would be 490, and that's how you determine it. Don't worry about the construction costs. Just worry about if I made the 350 house that's dated, completely renovated, what would it be worth? And that's ARV, after repair value. So it's a little tricky. There's a lot more to it, but this is a kind of streamlined approach to it. And it's not always precise with comps, as you saw, not a lot of rehabs, but that's kind of the idea of how you can come to an after repair value. Any questions on this, let me know. I can unpack a little bit more one-on-one and specifics. Hopefully we can find more renovated homes in certain markets. But that's summing up ARV. Let me know if you have any questions.